Hey there, in today's video I'm going to go through Asics' concept of designing different shoes for Stride versus Cadence runners and see if it makes sense to me. I'm making this video because when Asics launched their new Paris series, the third in their Metaspeed series, I was wondering which shoe to buy. And Asics say the Edge Paris is for Cadence style runners who are looking to start fast and finish faster. And the Sky Paris is for Stride style runners who are looking to start fast and finish faster. And I had lots of questions about the concept and I thought I'd make a video about what I think about it. This is not a review of the shoe, nor a comparison of the various Metaspeed series shoes. We have separate videos coming along about both of those topics. And as always, this video might be long, so there are chapter markers down below, so you can skip on through to the bits you might be interested in. Let's get going. My first question is, well, who looks to start fast and finish faster? I mean, in theory, yes, we'd all love to start fast and finish faster, but this is a marathon shoe. So we'll talk about negative splits, positive splits, and even splits. To look at the men's world records in the marathon, Eliud Kipchoge set a world record in Berlin in 2022. He ran a positive split. He started fast and well, he finished slower. Kelvin Kiptum, one of the few who's able to do negative splits, set the world record in Chicago 2023. The current world record, much missed, is Kelvin Kiptum, but he was able to start fast and finish faster. My target in a flat marathon is to have an even split, to start at the same pace, and if I can, go the same pace all the way through. I managed this only once in Rotterdam in 2023, and my slowest kilometer was 5 minutes 9 seconds per kilometer. My fastest was 5 minutes 26 per kilometer, and I managed to get some consistency. I managed to what I call metronome home, where it's pretty much going the same speed. I had a slight positive split. Most runners have a positive split. Very few start fast and finish faster. And by that, it's really nice to sprint at the end of a marathon. It's a great feeling. If you run a marathon, you've got some energy left, it is great. Crowds always cheer, but it has minimal effect on your overall time. What I want is a shoe that will give me a longer stride throughout the marathon at the same rate throughout. That's my goal with a marathon running shoe. Question 2. Who knows what Cadence style versus Stride style running is? It seems to be an Asics only concept. You don't see it widely talked about. I have to look up on the internet loads of places, see if I could find it anywhere else. And to be honest, I couldn't. Asics say about the Sky and the Edge that they help you go faster by extending stride length. They say the same thing about both shoes. Asics say that Cadence style runners change cadence easier as they run faster. Runners wearing these shoes will be able to increase their speed by increasing their number of strides. They then say that Stride style runners take a longer stride once they start increasing their speed, but their cadence primarily remains consistent. Let's have a look at what they say about the Paris series. Asics say this about the Edge Paris. Runners wearing these shoes will be able to increase their speed by increasing their number of strides. Asics say this about the Sky Paris. Runners wearing these shoes will be able to increase their speed by lengthening their strides. Increasing strides versus lengthening strides. But hang on, didn't Asics say that the Edge and Sky help increase the stride length? Now, to be clear, I know that people change stride and cadence at different rates throughout. I do get that. The question is the design of the shoes in relation to that concept, and that's what we're going to dive deep into. Question 3, what does this mean in practice? Well, to use Asics logic, if as I speed up, my percentage stride length increases greater than my percentage cadence, I should get the Sky series. And if they extend more or less equally, I should get the Edge series. Question 4, what type of runner am I? Am I a Stride style runner or Cadence style runner? I took some data on these two shoes that I tested at Danu Sports here in Dublin. It's part of a much bigger deep dive into Danu Sports and sports wearables that I'm in the middle of making. But I took them there on a very accurate treadmill and I ran 2 minutes at 8 kilometers, 4.97 miles per hour. 12 kilometers, 7.46 miles per hour, and 16 kilometers, 9.94 miles per hour. What I was trying to do was really trying to compare these two and see what they would be like over different speeds. I haven't done that yet. I have all the data, but I haven't analyzed it. But effectively what I was trying to do was see between the different shoes at the different speeds, but I'm going to use this particular data that I carried on 2 different shoes to just test out some of Asics' theories. Now, the usual caveats apply here. There is a limited data set. There's one old lab rat, and what works for me may not work for you. Question 5. Is the percentage gain in stride and cadence equal across various speeds? And the answer is no. It varies between 8 to 12 kilometers. It's different percentage increase versus 12 to 16 kilometers. And that stands to reason. It's going to depend hugely on the paces that you're running at and how you're comparing it. 8 to 16 will be different than 8 to 12. So that's the first thing, is that the cadence percentage in stride is different depending on the speed that you're trying to increase by, and again needs more testing and more analysis, but yeah, that's the basic conclusion. Question 6. Is there more percentage cadence or stride gain? And again, it depends on the speeds as in the last, but when I go from 8 kilometers to 12 kilometers, now 8 kilometers an hour is very slow. When it goes from 8 to 12 kilometers an hour, my stride length increases by 42% and my cadence by 9%. So from just above walking pace onwards, it increases. My stride length increases significantly. Then between 12 kilometers and 16 kilometers, my stride length changes by 19% and my cadence by 14%. So they change at different rates on different speeds. Really, I need to plot a graph, but the basic thing is they change at different percentages on different speeds. Question 7. Is the percentage gain in cadence and stride equal across the shoes? Yes, pretty much, at least in these two shoes. Question 8. How do Asics differentiate the shoes? Well, in terms of stack height, drop, weight, in plate position, and that has changed over the iterations of the various shoes. Question 9. Are Asics consistent across the 3 different series of Metaspeeds? Well, let's compare the original to the Plus to the Paris series. I'm going to use Asics original data to compare the weight, the stack, the drop, the plate design, and the plate position. Looking at the first series, the Sky had a 33mm stack down to 28mm, a 5mm drop. The Edge was 29mm to 21mm, an 8mm drop. They had different stack height and they had different drop. When you go to the Plus series, the Sky Plus is 33mm to 28mm, a 5mm drop. Didn't change. This Edge Plus does change. It rises, the stack rises to match the Sky Plus, 33mm. The drop stays the same at 5mm. So they're the same stack now, but they're different drop. You go to the Paris series, the latest series, they've both gone up in stack to 39.5 to 34.5mm, 5mm drop. Both of them are the same. They both have the same stack and the same drop. You look at the weight, and in the Sky series, it went from 1 to 3, 198 grams to 204 grams to 183 grams, or 7 ounces to 7.2 ounces to 6.46 ounces. Then you look at the Edge series, 1 to 3, 187 grams to 210 grams to 185 grams. 6.6 ounces, 7.4 ounces, 6.53 ounces. That is really impressive weight saving, considering that the foam has gone up the stack in the rear and also in the forefoot. That is very impressive weight saving. But the arguments in weight between the two are now more or less the same. I've weighed the Paris and the Sky Paris and the Sky Edge, and to be honest, they're pretty much exactly the same weight. So if the stack height is the same and the drop is the same, what's changed? Well, in the original Edge and the Sky, the plate was in more or less the same position. It had the same amount of foam underneath each shoe in the forefoot. To compare Asics' latest Paris pair, the Sky and the Edge, they both have the same stack and the same drop. What differentiates the two shoes is the position of the carbon plate. In the Edge, in this size, it's about 8mm from the ground, and in the Sky, it's about 15mm from the ground. Therefore, in one shoe versus the other, it's all about how much foam there is between the plate and the ground and how much is between the plate and your foot. I can see a clear difference in the argument in the Edge and the Sky. The Edge is a lighter shoe, therefore I could understand a higher cadence, more steps per minute. The Sky has more foam and more stack, it has more bounce, and I could see an argument for this giving you a greater stride length. When it comes to the Plus series, the stack is equalized, the drop is still different between the shoes, but there's less difference and I find the argument less compelling. But we will come on next to the Paris series. I have both the Edge and the Sky Paris. I took 2 shoes to my local gym, put them on the treadmill for 2 speeds for 2 minutes, and I took the data from 200-meter segments. It's all on my Stride, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to go ahead yourself. The speeds I chose, and again, I'm trying to choose speeds for consistency. I went at 10 kilometers per hour, 6.21 miles per hour, and also 14 kilometers per hour, 8.7 miles per hour. So what did the data show? Well, let's stick it up here and here. What I'm trying to do in terms of is comparing on a treadmill, because you've got the same conditions. The belt speed may vary a little bit here or there, but I took a 200 meter segment in between. And in the edge at 10 kilometers per hour, 6 minutes 14 per kilometer. And stride is 0.96 meters. The cadence is 168 steps per minute. The vertical oscillation is 6.93 centimeters, and the ground contact time 280 milliseconds. To take the Sky Paris at the same speed, 10 kilometers per hour, 616 per kilometer, I've got a stride of 0.95 meters, cadence 168 steps per minute, vertical oscillation 6.76 centimeters, and ground contact time 279 milliseconds. To then take the Edge Paris at 14 kilometers per hour, or 4 minutes 32 per kilometer, my stride length is 1.18 meters, cadence is 187 steps per minute, vertical oscillation 6.33 centimeters, and ground contact time 220 milliseconds. To take the Sky Paris at that speed, the stride is 1.17 centimeters, cadence is 187 steps per minute, vertical oscillation 6.19 centimeters, and ground contact time 218 milliseconds. From the treadmill runs, I couldn't separate the two shoes. The data is almost identical in each of the shoes, certain within the margin of error. I took the shoes on 2 long runs. I went out in the Sky Paris, I went 29 kilometers, and I went 30 kilometers in the Edge Paris, a week apart, and over very similar terrain, hills, and certainly at the end it was exactly the same terrain. I'll analyze that data in another video. I don't want to have recency bias, which you can have, and new shoe syndrome. So at this point in time, can't separate the shoes from the data I've got so far. What are Asics asking me to believe? Well, firstly, the Stride versus Cadence Runner concept. Do I believe that different people speed up their stride and cadence in different ways? Absolutely, I 100% believe that. Do I believe Asics' argument about stride style and cadence style in relation to these two shoes, the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris? No, I don't. I went along with it originally. I think there was a lot of merit in it originally, but not so much anymore. I think there's so many other factors. There's what about if someone's a heel striker or a midfoot striker or a forefoot striker? And what about the fact that they may strike at different rates during different speeds? And the change in the relative speed between stride and cadence as you speed up and slow down. What about your personal preference? What about your personal feeling if you like less stack under or less foam under the plate than more foam because of a comfortness or a feel and response to the terrain you're running on? I think so much more of that comes into play. To be clear, these are both great shoes. I've enjoyed running immensely in both of them. The weight saving in each of these shoes is a tremendous achievement. I'm looking forward to running way further in each of these shoes. It's just I don't buy the style running versus cadence running argument in relation to the two shoes. During the lifespan of the Asics Metaspeed Series 1 to 3, there have been stack changes, drop changes, weight changes, foam changes, plate position changes. The shoes stack up. It's just that for me, the stride versus cadence argument doesn't. There have been lots of design changes, but well, one thing's for sure, marketing doesn't change. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, it would be great if you would hit the like button. As always, there'll be lots of stuff in the description below, and I'll happily answer any questions you put into the comments. There'll be a big blue subscribe button popping up there. That's right, videos there. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, just keep running along.